everyone, welcome to another episode of the Unkindness Brothers show. I'm one of your hosts, Matt Lytle, along with this guy,
Jean-Claude Van Damme. Well, technically it's Chris Califf, but you know how we do.
Okay, he is your other host. And we are a show that dives deep into the biggest true crime stories happening in our world today. Califf, before I tell them exactly what we're going to talk about, I want to ask you a question.
Okay.
How are you?
Nobody's ever asked me that before. No, I'm kidding. I'm doing good, brother. I'm doing really good. How are you doing?
I'm good. Listen, I don't want to ask you, all these boring, like work questions or how's, this or that. It's just like, dude, how are you? You know what I mean? Like, we get to do this. I just want to know that you're good before we get into this story because, Califf, we are talking about Ruby Franke. And this story goes from very relatable for us to extremely dark. So if you guys have seatbelts, buckle up. If not, buckle up still because this is gonna be crazy.
I'm not gonna lie. I know little to nothing of the story, per your request, and I'm excited, man. I'm really excited to get into this one.
Okay, so Califf, Ruby Franke, how much do you know about this story?
Nothing. I mean, I've been more prepared to walk on a filming set and film a TV show than I am for this particular case.
Really? Because you were like not prepared for that at all.
And there you go.
Okay, wow. So you know nothing about this. This is.
Let's be real. Let's be real. I mean, what was your ask of me for this particular case?
Would you what?
What did you ask of me for this particular case? I mean, this was one of those ones where it was like, dude, I want you fresh on this. I want to see how things pop off, and I try to keep myself as neutral as possible when we go into these stories because of my background, because of what I do.
Right.
I like to make sure that when we're doing these, I can be, again, as unbiased as possible.
Right. And that's actually a good point. So everyone, the first couple episodes in this episode, I have told Califf, like, hey, don't do the research. The first two were kind of stories that are a little more unsolved with Casey Anthony and The Watcher. This one isn't that. This one is very much solved. This is going to be a very emotional episode for everyone, including you. And this is going to be a lot about opinions. And this is going to be a lot about trying to get into the mindset of people. And I'm just going to actually get going on it because we don't have enough time for me to explain how crazy this is going to be. So the first thing I want to show everyone, and Califf actually has not seen this video, so he's going to watch it and then we are going to react. Let's just start with this video. Go ahead.
Okay. So you texted me this link. Here we go. Well, that's an ad.
It's kind of like your favorite pizza's best friend.
Ruin the mood.
It's kind of like my favorite pizza's best friend.
Wondering if you could use your favorite. Well, what are they? Taking me to the nearest police station.
Oh, you were such a good kid.
This kid is always sleeping. I think he's sleeping. He's hungry and he's been young been. He sat up with carrying his stocking feet. So he escaped.
We need the police here now.
They're on the line.
You know how many hours you've been that? Okay.
I hear a car, but they're not coming in the driveway.
Tape around his arms and legs. Emaciated. Okay, so we're getting deep into shit today. Okay, we're getting deep into kids getting hurt. Okay.
Califf, it gets worse. Let's start from the beginning. So, 8 passengers. 8 Passengers was the name of a very popular YouTube channel created by Ruby Franke. And it involved her 6 children and her husband. 6 plus 2 equals 8. This was started in 2015. This channel was started to literally film a very happy Mormon Christian family. It was to help out parents. It was basically to show that a big family, a normal family like that, can live a very happy and fun life. Okay. So you listen to me and you say, all right, that sounds like extremely good intentions. Like you were bettering people's lives, you were bringing up their mental health, et cetera, et cetera. And that's fine. That is great, right? So that started in 2015. Well, they started getting money. Their first paycheck came in and it was $85. They had a few videos. So, for example, one of their first videos before they went viral was they were cutting a cake for a gender reveal. And a lot of people liked it. And they had all the kids around reacting to it. And it was a very cute video. And, you know, it made my heart warm if I didn't know the story. And the video that did go viral was baby crawls out of the crib, and it got 1 million views. And that's when the money started coming in. And that is when things got a little dangerous. So $85 went from that a month to 2,000, then 2,000 to 8,000, 8,000 to 20. And at their peak, this YouTube channel, 8 passengers with Ruby Franke as the mother, 6 kids, was making $100,000 a month. At their peak, they had 2.5 million subscribers. Okay. So obviously very successful. I mean, you and I are here. You know what? I'm going to hold the opinions. I'm just going to tell the story. So Ruby obviously got extremely obsessed. And this is where it kind of takes a darker turn. She started to change the light bulbs in their house from, you know, normal lights to very bright white lights. She used to force every single child, and I'm not talking about kids that are 10 to 20 years old. I'm talking some of her kids were 3, 4, 5 years old. I mean, they had 6 kids, and she was forcing them to film basically 24/7. She was posting 5 days a week at 6 a.m. trying to keep up with everything. She had the camera on everywhere. Every part of Ruby Franke's life was filming. And if the kids did not want to film or didn't perform to what she wanted them to, smack. There are stories of Chad, who's her oldest son, who had bloody noses, and his oldest sister, Sherry, who they are they're two big parts of this story, would have to clean up his blood on the walls. She would scream all the time. There's a video of them getting ready for church, and she's filming some stupid thing with marbles, and she screams bloody murder at them and asking why there's talking. And the husband responds, Kevin is his name. Kevin's also a big part of this. He responds and says, honey, we're getting ready for church. This is how obsessed she got. And it wasn't, she got obsessed right when they were hitting $100,000. It was just once that video went viral, it wasn't just the money. It was her, the way she wanted to be perceived in the public eye, all the comments saying how beautiful she was, how good of a mother she was, which, you know, in the videos was true at the time, but they didn't know. The audience did not know behind the scenes how, I guess we'll start using the word abusive she was. So let's fast forward a little bit. I actually have a quote kind of about how she got so obsessed with it. This is from Kevin, her husband. Kevin says, she filmed everything, and I was so uncomfortable with it. When I came to the door, wherever Ruby was, the camera was. All of a sudden, it wasn't enough just to interact with her. I had to interact with the camera. She would pull it out, and she would say, Kevin, this camera is millions of people watching us. She wanted me to be the perfect husband, the even-keeled but strong patriarch of the family. But I wasn't. I'm a nerd through and through. You know, that's just his personality, but that's how obsessed she got. Okay.
Wait. Sorry, go ahead, man. I'm still trying to like wrap my head.
Just let me tell the whole story. No interruptions unless it's like really, really specific. Like if it's really needed. But let me get through the story because, brother, we are going to talk about details, and you and I will be able to go back and forth for 20 freaking minutes. But let me get through the story unless it is something important. Okay. So remember Kevin, right? Remember that quote. Remember all that. Remember the 2 oldest kids, the physicality of Ruby with the younger kids, especially as they start getting followers. They were going to Hawaii, filming there. You know, they were going all over the place, taking all these trips. But when they were going on trips, kids were getting sick of it because it's like when we go on trips, we're not having a family vacation. We are literally working and we're filming. And again, they're children. They're children, and they're getting, I believe, $10 if they help out with the video, kind of thing. Not that, again, the money's not the big issue here, but this is just Ruby got so obsessed, and that was just in her core, right? So let's move on.
So she's at this point, she's already beating kids that don't perform.
She's already being at least verbally abusive, sounds like physically abusive as well, with the examples that I gave earlier. So 2020 comes around, and there is a video that they put out on 8 passengers, and it's with Chad, the oldest son. So Chad, you know, he's 15, 16, 17 years old at this point. So, you know, I'm an older brother. My brother's only 6 years younger than me. He had the same. He had a little brother who was about 10 at the time. And so he would tease him all the time. Well, apparently there was one time he told his little brother that they were going to California, Disneyland. I don't know if we can use that they were going to California at 2 a.m. So the little brother woke up and had his bags packed and his sunglasses on. And the parents were like, and Ruby and Kevin were like, what is that noise? And they saw the younger brother trying to go to California. It was like, hey, when are we going? And so what happened was Ruby made Chad, the older brother, sleep on a beanbag in the basement for 7 months. For 7 months on a beanbag, right? That was actually put out into the public. They made a video and they spoke about it, and it's pretty cringy watching the video.
They made a video of them.
Well, yeah, yes. So it was a video that they were going to put on their page, and it kind of seemed like Chad brought it up, and it surprised Ruby in the video. So Califf, this video, guess what? At this point, they are making basically millions of dollars, right, with their channel. This video came out and the audience went absolutely crazy. How could Ruby do this? How could this good mother that we've been watching for years force her oldest kid, who's now, you know, a growing boy, to sleep on an uncomfortable beanbag for over half a year, like in a basement, right? So that ended up spiraling into a muck, and they lost 90% of their income from that video. Ruby's reputation went from happy, fun, very Christian mom to, oh, this lady's crazy. I would never let my kid around this lady. So like I said earlier, her important thing was her reputation, was the way the public looked at her. She wanted to be the best mom in the world. Mother's Day, she wanted to go viral, and she did. So this really ruined her reputation, and it took away 90% of their income from YouTube. Now, at this time, Kevin, the husband, is working as a professor. He just had gotten his PhD, so he was working as a professor at BYU. So they were still making money, but at this point, they had bought a bigger and nicer house. So, you know, finances were kind of going everywhere as well. Then, this is where it gets really bad. There's a character, is what I like to say, a character that comes in. Her name is Jodi Hildebrandt. Jodi Hildebrandt was a therapist, a counselor, if you will, who had a business called Connections with an X. She started this in 2010. And at this point, it is 2019, 2020. Let's see here. It is 2020 at this point. So Jodi and Ruby connect because of Chad's bad behavior, the oldest son's bad behavior. Ruby had a friend suggest Jodi, and when Jodi and Ruby met, they hit it off. And a lot of reasons why a lot of people think isn't because Ruby was so lovely, because her family needed help, because Chad needed help. It was because $signs. Jodi said, that's Ruby Franke. And at this point, Califf, they're pretty famous from YouTube, 2.5 million subscribers, you know, all of that. And before they met Jodi, or actually during the Jodi thing, their channel, for all you wondering, the 8 Passenger channel, went from fun kids to basically just Ruby trying to be a better mom, trying to, you know, there were videos of her teach, you know, during Bible study in their house and teaching them, you know, stuff from the Mormon, the Book of Mormon. And so when they met Jodi, Jodi saw this and saw money, saw opportunities to take advantage of this. And that's exactly what happened. So Ruby started going to Jodi's classes at Connections, and it was all women. And there's footage of this. You guys can actually watch the docuseries on Hulu. And it seemed like it was a very like man-hating meeting. They talked a lot about how, well, let me rephrase that. Jodi talked a lot about how all men are lustful. If they say they're not, they're lying. And a lot of the words she was using, and this isn't just the meeting Ruby went to. This is, in future meetings with men and husbands as well. She tried to break up couples. There's a lot of interviews and a lot of quotes from other couples and women who went to Jodi and was like, there was nothing wrong with my marriage, and she was giving me advice. I trusted her. I was listening to her, and we ended up getting a divorce. Jodi was not married anymore. She was divorced. She was not in contact with any of her kids. So to me, it's like, Chad needs help from a therapist. Okay, well, you go to a lady who doesn't even talk to her children. There must be more to that. But I do have a quote from Sherry, who is the oldest daughter. And she is a very, very smart woman. So this is what Sherry said about Jodi. She said, because let me tell you this before I read this quote. Sherry was very skeptical about Jodi. Something was off about Jodi in the way she would speak to the kids, to the Franke kids, and to everyone that really threw her off. And so she said, you know what? I'm going to do some research. And at this point, Sherry's about 20 years old. She said, and I quote, I remember looking up Jodi to see who she was, and I found out she was not a psychologist, even though she claimed to be one. From reviews online, I learned that she ruined families. She's not even married. Even her kids didn't talk to her. So she's saying exactly what I was saying. I remember thinking, why are we working with this woman? End quote. So even Ruby's oldest daughter was having second thoughts. And again, this is just the introduction to Jodi and Ruby's life. It takes a very dark turn. So let's get to that turn. This is May 2021, right? COVID is still a thing. We are in Utah right now. And Jodi and Ruby, at this point, Ruby has joined Connections, the business that I was telling you about, as her sidekick. Their words, not mine. And they also changed 8 passengers backspace, and they changed it to Moms of Truth. And I find that so fucking ironic. Okay, you're going to love what I'm about to tell you next. And that is kind of not sarcasm. So May 2021, Jodi decides, hey, Ruby, I'm having a lot of trouble at my house. I think I should move in with you. There's a reason she was having a lot of trouble at her house. And you and I will get deeper into this later, I believe. But it's because she was, and I quote, being haunted by dark hooded shadow figures in her house. I have chills right now. So she moves in. She moves into Sherry, the oldest daughter's room. Sherry is about to go off to college, but she wasn't there yet. And she got kicked out of her own room for Jodi. And she had to move in with her 2 sisters. Okay, doesn't make sense. She's 20 years old. I would not have been okay with that, but about to go to college, whatever. So this is all very, very weird, right? Now this Jodi and Ruby relationship went from like kind of professional, not really great people, not a great vibe, to like, okay, now they're moving in together. And it's because she's being haunted by dark hooded figures, by demons, by Satan himself, which is my next point. When she moved in, according to Kevin, and I have another quote that I want to share with you guys, she was having demonic possession like symptoms, if you will, episodes. Kevin says, after Jodi came into the picture, weird things started happening in our house. Jodi would go into these possessed trances and she would start speaking in other voices. Ruby believed it was meant to be, and me and her were meant to help Jodi overcome this. Jodi was moving in and asking. Kevin admitted, dude, I was trying to exorcise her. Like, I was speaking to God. I was holding the Bible, like, et cetera, et cetera. And she was saying things like, she's mine, she's mine, she's mine. So she's living there. And after a year living there, the family was actually believing in all this. All of the family, even the kids were believing in all this, that we are here. Jodi is here for us to help her with this Satan problem, if you will. Turns out that several of the two older kids and the dad had some suspicions that the Ruby and Jodi relationship was more than a sisterhood, was more than a friendship. Sherry would walk into her room one time and saw massage oils and dark lighting. And she said when she walked in, it was just such a negative vibe, which, you know me, I know that feeling very, very well, being an empathic person. Chad trusted Jodi, and he opened up. And again, Chad is 17 at this point. He opens up to Jodi and says, you know, I have watched pornography and I have made out with girls. He's 17. Like, we all do that at 17. You know what I mean? Gone. They kicked him out of the house. Ruby kicked him out of the house. Ruby at this point was sleeping in Jodi's bed with her to help her with the demons. So Chad gets kicked out from being vulnerable and going to this friend of a family, this therapist, and she kicks him out. Then it goes as far as Kevin, the husband, getting kicked out because of his sex addiction and lust addiction. Kevin was actually going to all men meetings. And when it started, he was, as he puts it, the alpha. He was the one that Jodi would be like, oh, here's Kevin, you know, here's his situation. Kevin, why don't you tell us? She was beating him down. When she moved in and during this time, she was beating him down, telling him how wrong, like, his lust was, how wrong his sex addiction was. The dude didn't have anything like that. Like, brother, he had none of that. And she was making this all up. And for me, I'm like, well, it's because she's fucking Ruby and they're sleeping together. And who's the biggest threats? The oldest son, the oldest daughter, and the dad. Like, bye, you're out. And that's what happened. Oldest daughter's in college. Chad and Kevin get kicked out. I want to go back to the video. We'll get to the meat now. August 30th, 2023 was when that scenario took place. Ruby and Jodi were arrested, obviously, after that video at Jodi's home down in Washington County, Utah, which was about 4 hours south of Springville, which is where the family lived up in Utah. And side note for everyone, Califf and I do have some history with south of Salt Lake City, South Jordan, actually. One of our episodes from Ghost Loop was there, and it was the most impactful episode while filming, in post-production, and when it aired. And I'll just say that. We can talk about that later. But I did just want to point that out. We do have some history there. So moving forward, Jodi got arrested along with Ruby. Jodi was at home while the 12-year-old son went and got help. And the police went in and they found the 10-year-old daughter, shaved head, tied up in a closet. The 12-year-old escaped through the back door. As you saw in the video, he had duct tape on his wrists and ankles. He escaped somehow and went through the back door and went to the neighbors. And to be honest with you, he saved the life of him and his sister. I absolutely believe that. And again, I want to get into more of the opinions and more of the details later. I want to get through kind of the story. So that's what happened. So the 10-year-old daughter, the one that, remember I was saying cutting the cake, oh, it's a girl, the gender reveal, it's that daughter, the youngest. She was 10. So as you saw in the video, 12-year-old son, he was emaciated. He had open wounds, duct tapes around his extremities. He escaped through the window, as I just said. And they were arrested 2 days after being arrested. They were both charged for 6 counts of aggravated child abuse, which is a felony. The day they got arrested, Ruby had called Kevin. Kevin, like I said, got kicked out. And a year went by of him not talking to his kids at all, including Chad and Sherry, the two oldest. He did not talk to his kids for a year. Was not allowed, Califf. Was not allowed. So he gets a call from Ruby, and he's like, oh, shit. Hello? Hey, you need to pick up the 2 youngest kids from the police station in, I believe it's Ivan, the city of Ivan in Utah. Okay. That's it. No other information. So poor Kevin went into this police station and was like, I'm here to pick up my kids. Of course, that wasn't what's going to happen. He got questioned. And this man knew absolutely nothing. And that's not my opinion. That is a fact. He knew nothing. So Califf, Kevin he does not know. Police are asking him questions about, where's this person? Why did this happen? we have your 12-year-old son who, this happened. And Kevin is just like, you are not telling me any true story here. Like, this is all not real. Like, he could not believe it, poor guy. And so that was the day she got arrested. So, and then fast forward to the 2 days later, which is when they were charged. And then at the end of the day, December 18th, 2023, Ruby was pled guilty to 4 counts of aggravated child abuse. And December 27th, 2023, Jodi, same thing. She pleaded guilty to 4 counts of aggravated child abuse. As of February 20th, 2024, they will be spending 4 to 30 years in prison. Before we get into more detail, before we really discuss our thoughts and what we think Kevin's role was and how did it get here, I just want to get your opinion. First thoughts, and then you can ask away and we can just talk. But like I want you to just, what are you thinking right now? What are you feeling?
Holy shit. Like, you see these YouTube channels. I mean, again, being a dad, you see these things all the time. You see these content creators making stuff for kids, and you never think about the fact that the kids are basically performing monkeys, right? Like you just don't think about it like that. More than that, holy shit. Like, that is, I don't even know what to say. I really don't. I'm at the point where it's like, I'm angry, clearly, because like this is just not something it's not acceptable. But more than that, it's why would you? And then to run the DeFeo demon defense. Oh, there was dark spirits that were like. This is the stuff that really pisses me off, is that people just don't atone for the shit they do, and that frustrates me more than anything else on the face of this earth, because you are the one that put duct tape around your kid. You are the one that clearly had impulses to sleep with your psychologist friend. You kicked your husband out for whatever reasons you wanted to manifest and talk about. This is on you. This is you being an asshole. This is on you being a completely despicable human. And you're going to sit here and blame it on everybody else but yourself? Like, no, that's not how this operates. So, I mean, I'm trying to process the idea that the biggest piece that's really kind of hit me in the head, you have the video of her forcing her kid to sleep 7 months on a beanbag in the basement. How did that not ring alarm bells? How did people not see this and go, okay, well, that clearly is a pretty big red flag, an indicator of something else beneath the surface here. We should probably look into that. Like, that's what blows me away.
Well, I mean, when you say people, you mean their audience, their viewers?
I mean people. I mean audience. I mean sponsors.
They did, brother. They did. They got, and that's what's great about now. You're thinking and asking. I know a lot of information about this story. I really do. I did a lot of research on this, and again, guys, this is a story that I cannot say everything that happened. We know this. Like, we only have a certain amount of time. I know I'm going to be missing information, and please fill in on. This is a perfect episode to fill in on the comments, give us opinions and all. So, having said that, they lost all their brand deals on YouTube from that video. They lost 90% of their income, and viewers went way, 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 way down. A lot of people were asking, why can't we do anything about this? Is anybody going to do anything about this?
That's the big thing, right? Like, okay, that's cool. They lost 90% of the viewers and all that type of stuff. They should have lost everything. There shouldn't have been a 10% left. There shouldn't have been an income stream left or a revenue stream left. This person should have been banned for literally performing child abuse on the internet. Now, I understand the dark web and there's places on the internet that supply really dangerous, nasty stuff, right? That's the case. But a platform like we're on right now should not be looked at in a way that these things could be, just, okay, well, we're going to demonetize you. No, you ban that person.
I love that.
You take away that platform, so maybe they can reflect inwards and be like, okay, maybe this is on me. Maybe I'm the one who did this. Maybe I'm the one who messed up. But by only taking it so far, all you've done now, we've discussed this on several topics, you've now emboldened the person to rebrand themselves, to redirect themselves, to do it all over again. And now the kids are going to suffer because they're the reason why she lost her income in the first place. So to me, this is literally like it's one of those things where, like, if this would have happened the thought process is clearly that maybe this wouldn't have gone this far.
Yeah.
Does that make sense?
That makes absolute sense. And I cannot disagree there. If you're seeing all of these comments and like all of those types of comments, and we're talking like hundreds and hundreds of them, how do you not, bye, gone. Instead, backspace 8 passengers and go into, what was it? Mother or Truth of Moms? Are you kidding me? So I want to share a couple more details because I think this will help you, have probably a deeper opinion about what you just said. When I say abuse, yes, there was abuse, but in Califf, you know me more than anyone in this entire world. I don't use this word that I'm about to use a lot. It was torture. It was child torture. And I'm not talking about when they were filming in 2015, 2016. I'm talking about the very end, that video of that poor boy, because it wasn't just duct tape tied to a chair, right? So the police went into Jodi's house and they found a safe and they said, hey, you have a safe down in your basement. Is that, storage? Is it, do you have guns? Is it, what is it? Oh, well, there's a toilet and a sink in there. And they were like, okay, what's the code? She goes, well, I've never used it. They were like, okay, so there's a sink and a toilet, but you never used it. Like, all right, whatever. So of course, police do. They go down. They're like, we're going to figure this out. The police officer goes 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 opened. So was she lying that she never used it? It seems like not, but then they walked in.
That's some safes that you have for program codes and come with generic codes, so it makes sense that she might not have used it. Because, typically, 4-1s or whatever, like when you get some certain things, they have a generic thing, pass key or passcode set to them. So, it does ring probable that she didn't. I'm going to doubt that seriously because this trash bag of a human being, you know what I mean? Like having a toilet in there and all that stuff, that seems like high end compared to how she's treating her children right now. Does that make sense?
Yeah. Well, it was Ruby's children, not Jodi's, Ruby's. But it's funny that you say that. I just want to shout out my motorcycle. It's beautiful, and I have a code that if I don't have the key fob to start it, and it came with a basic code, so I know exactly what you're talking about. Shout out! It's sitting out there right now. It's so beautiful. Jodi, do not edit that out. I want people to know. No, but in all seriousness, she did use it, and this is why. Police walked in, and they found handcuffs, and they found rope, and they found honey, and they found, what was it? Honey and cayenne pepper to apparently rub on the wounds. They found duct tape. They found duct tape. Do you want me to continue? They found tools to use for torture. They found everything that was used on these 2 young, poor children, right? Another thing is I believe it was where Ruby's room was, which obviously her and Jodi stayed in the same room. There was a blue folder that the cops found because they found enough evidence to go back in. And it was everything, Chris Califf. It was everything, every day that they tortured these kids.
They logged it? They had a logbook of the torture.
Ruby logged it.
Jesus
Ruby logged
Christ.
it. And stuff in it was very, very disturbing. Let me name a few things real quick. So here's a few things that Ruby wrote down in the journal. She would have them jump on a small trampoline all day. There was a road, and this house is in the desert, by the way. It's in South Utah. So, this is August. It's hot. There's a road called Hellhole Pass Road. And apparently, Ruby and Jodi would make this 10-year-old girl and 12-year-old boy run up and down this road. I don't know if it was all day, but would have to make them run up and down. I'm assuming with wrong equipment, which leads to them having to stand outside all day in the sun with no sunscreen, with nothing to cover their arms or legs or their face or their head. Didn't I just tell you they shaved the 10-year-old girl's head? I don't know why. I don't know if it was lice. I don't know if it was punishment. You can't tell with these 2 crazy women, right? So they stood out there all day, dude, in that desert sun in late August, in July. Let's see here. Oh, they tied them to heavy weights. They would have the kids sleep outside all night. and so on and so forth. I think you guys have heard enough. You know what I mean? Califf. That's why I say torture. That is why 4 to 30 years, it better be 30 years. I don't think these women should ever walk outside of a prison.
It's not how the world works. It's not how the world works. Unfortunately, these women will probably see 6 good behavior and be let out. Like that's just the way the world works. There's the part that kills me is there's nastier people out there. There's people doing nastier shit out there. And by no means am I saying this isn't nasty because, like, I mean, as you've been talking this entire time, my hands to the side of like the laptop and whatnot. I mean, I've been like white knuckle tight this whole time. But unfortunately, that's just the way it's going to be. I mean, go back to what we were just discussing with the YouTube stuff. Punishment varies, and unfortunately, this woman sounds like she's great at talking her way out of just about anything. So, you're going to see.
Which woman? Remember, we're talking about two of them.
It's going to be both of them. I mean, you've got one that bullshitted her way into a PhD, and then you've got the other one who is pretending to be mom of the year, all while doing all this awful, heinous, just twisted stuff to her kids.
And then you put them together, and look what happens. Yeah,
you've got suddenly then it becomes demonic, right? Like, no, you're just evil. You're just a shitty person, and these poor kids. Like the video, going back to the video that you sent me. To hear that kid's voice and see just how like numb he was. Oh, it's just a personal issue. It's just a personal issue. Like that that kills me. That literally kills me because this kid is so just desensitized because of all the shit he's gone through that it's just a personal issue. It's nothing big. You have sores around duct tape, which indicate that duct tape has been on for a while. And we're talking for a minute, right? And just to be like that downtrodden, to be like, okay, no, it is what it is. Well, he knew the consequences of his actions. He knew that if nobody helped him, what was coming next, and it was probably going to escalate to death. Which leads me to my question to you: nobody died in this, right? Like nobody.
No, there was no death. But like I said, I think the 12-year-old saved him and his sister's life.
I wholeheartedly agree. There's no way that this didn't escalate. I mean, this sounds like any story that turns into a multiple murder that I've ever heard. It starts here, it goes through torture, and then it starts with accidental death and then planned death. So,
yeah, it's and we haven't used this word either. And I think this has a lot to do with not just Ruby, but I think a lot of the family as well. And I have some things to back this up, but it's the word brainwashed. Do you think Jodi, from my research, and it's almost like she had a freaking cult. Like the way these people would go to her, and she was, the cult. Well, it's isolating people.
Let me cut you off there. And I see where you're going. I see where you're going with the mentality of twisting the brain and all that stuff. This is just a shitty person. At this point, you just have a person with truly shitty and evil intent.
Who, Ruby, okay. Or you got to be more specific?
I'm talking about Ruby. Okay. You've just got an all around evil human. This isn't cult or brainwashing. This isn't trying to convince or anything. This is loving adoration. This is loving, being, mom of the year. This is loving yourself more than you love your children. This is just an honest to God piece of garbage that should not be existing. Right.
So it's like Jodi. It's like, think of Mario Kart. Like when you hit, like when you get a star. So like you're going and you're racing, you get a star and you go faster. It's like right when Jodi came in to Ruby's life, she got the star, and then she started, like, it just escalated like this, bro.
It seems like Ruby to me was trying to figure out how to do shit, and then this is what happens in a lot of cases, right? Somebody comes into your life and they unlock this particular part of you, and this is what freaks me out about most humans and most stories that we cover and we have covered, is that there's always that catalyst. There's always that person that comes through that unlocks your mind to the truest, darkest, worst potential of the person that you could be. And you've got this person who's a fake PhD who's probably, twisting your mind. I'm not going to use the word brainwash because I think that brainwash, you have to be against it at some point. And I don't think for a second that was the case. I think it was just swallowing each other's bullshit and pretending to like it. Yeah. And, you find your person and you're just like, okay, well, we're both shitty humans. Let's continue to do this and move forward in this direction. How can we benefit each other mutually? Like, that's how it's gross and just like I said, I don't think there's more to it than just being honest to God evil people.
Yeah. No, I mean, I totally agree there. I think you're right. And I kind of want to talk about Kevin now, the father. And this is where you want to talk about brainwash. This guy, to this day, still says he loves Ruby. This guy, when Ruby kicked him out and did let him see the kids for a year, he still loved Ruby. Like,
this is a douchebag. I'm sorry. I get a call from my daughter, and I get a call from law enforcement. They say, "Hey, your oldest is down here with, remnants of tape marks on her ankles and her
youngest." Redo that youngest.
Okay, so yeah, I get a call that my youngest is, sitting there with tape on their wrists and their ankles, and that this happened under their mother's care. I'm not going to sit here and pine and kneel and be like, "Oh my God, I love us." I'm going to slap a bitch because now you've hurt my babies. Now you've hurt these little humans that your one job, right? Your one job is to make sure that these little humans get to where they need to be safely. And that's in age, that's in growth, that's in mindset. And if you want to sit here and be like, "Oh, well, I still love her and I didn't see my kid for a year," and all this type of stuff. If that happened to me, I would fight tooth and nail to be there. I would show up at things even if I wasn't supposed to. There's no place on earth that my kids could be hidden that I wouldn't go to or fight for to get my kids back. And I can say that. It's built in and integrated in my course. So this guy to be like, "Oh, I just sat out for a year and these bad things happened to my kids." Dude, you're just as complicit. You were just as complicit. You know what she's about. You know what she's worth. And you sat there and did nothing. You sat there and did absolutely nothing that benefited your kids. You just walked away.
And what I've seen from Kevin is everything you just said, he admits. And that's the thing. He admits that. Like when he was interviewed during that docuseries, he admits that he should have been there. He admits he should have stepped up. He admits all that, which I applaud him for. We were just talking about recognizing things.
I don't.
Recognizing you. I applaud him for at least seeing it now, because he could still be defending Ruby, and you know what I mean? Because I've seen other true crime stories where the husband is in the exact same position. And he's still like, "Oh no, she's still a wonderful person." He wasn't saying any of that.
Screw him. No, screw him. Like he might have come around to it at some point, and good on him. Good on him for seeing the truth and finding himself in the light. But the fact of the matter is, you still didn't do anything, dude. I don't care what your intentions were or what your viewpoints are now. The point is, when your kids needed you, when they needed you the most, you weren't there.
Yeah.
And there's no forgiveness for that. There's none. There's absolutely nothing you can say or point to me or tell me about how he's come to Jesus or how his life has changed so drastically that steps from the point that he, because of his absence, because he didn't check in, because he didn't fight, because he didn't do his thing to be there for his kids, that this isn't somehow on him for not stepping up and doing the shit he was supposed to. That's just bar none. Like there's nothing about this dude that warrants forgiveness, in my opinion, because he is just as complicit and just as guilty as both the other two that were doing this crap.
Well, it's funny you say that, because with what I'm about to tell you, I didn't even say this, and you said what you said. He admitted that. So here's a really big part of the excuse of torturing the youngest two from Ruby's words and Jodi's words. I think you can guess it. They were demonically possessed. They were possessed. Ruby even said, I poked the 12-year-old, the son, with a cactus poke to get out into the sun. And she was like, he didn't even move.
Because he was lethargic. He wasn't drinking. He wasn't eating. Oh my God.
I know. Well, I'm just trying to tell you a fact. I know you could go all night.
I'm just
Let
being
me tell you
like,
a little more facts, and then I want you to talk. Let me tell you a little more. So having said that, that is the reason why, and according to Ruby, which Jesus Christ. Moving forward, Kevin admitted that when he went back to the house after they got arrested to check on things, he ran into Chad for the first time in a year. Chad is the oldest son that we've talked about. And they were still saying the kids were possessed. And he said he accepted the abuse. He accepted the abuse at the time.
Yeah, he's just guilty. He's just as guilty. Accepted the abuse.
You see why I use the term brainwash?
That's not brainwash. That's sheer neglect.
You don't think Ruby brainwashed Kevin?
I think Kevin was a punk ass father. I think that he had no spine. I think that he had no soul and no heart. I think that he was more convinced and more trying to get back into his old lady's pants and back into her heart than he was considering being a parent and being there for the people he's supposed to. This dude is just as complicit.
Yeah.
Am I the world's greatest dad? I'm sure there's plenty of room for me. I'm sure
you're
I've
a
got,
really good dad, bro.
I've got plenty of cups and kids that will tell you this, but I mean, there's still things I can work on, right? This dude definitely seems like he could just, I mean, the idea that first off, possession. Oh my God, I can't even get into possession right now because that's another episode. This whole thing just blows me away because the women to me have, it's not even a reasonable story, but they have something that I can hear and be like, okay, these two bitches are crazy. Like, sorry to our female audience, I'm not trying to bash women, but these two bitches are crazy. And like that, I get that. But then you have this dude come in and be like, oh, I accepted it. I was gone for a year. Dude, you're a punk ass piece of garbage.
And he told his kids to accept it, the ones who weren't. He told Chad to accept it. And Chad was like, okay.
Maybe Jodi, Ruby, and him need to accept an ass whooping. Like, that's kind of where I'm at with this because now, like, you've already capitalized on your children to make you a fortune, right? You've already used your kids to put them on YouTube.
Used and abused.
Because let me be clear. My daughter, my oldest, who is getting older and older, is just now starting to kind of dabble in the world of social media and all these things and content creation and becoming like she's truly like an artiste at heart. But still, I would never put myself in a position to monetize off of my children, period. That's just not how, one, parents are supposed to work, two, how it's supposed to work in general. I'm not going to, use my kids' talents to make me rich. And then when I screw it up, beat them because I'm the one, like, none of this makes sense to me.
Yep.
Like, this isn't brainwashing. This is complete stupidity.
Okay.
These are people that are so self-absorbed and self-righteous that, what the hell?
Yeah. Yeah, bro. And you know what? I will say, just to step out of the story a little bit, this is exactly why I really wanted to do this story. Because I know how you are as a father and the fact that you are a father. I know how you look at life, but I also know how you look at social media. I know how you look at YouTube and TikTok and all of that stuff. And I really wanted to get, and again, guys, Califf and I talk every day. We purposely do not talk about these episodes. So every reaction that he has is very authentic. Every reaction I have to his reactions is very authentic, right? This is not set up. This is just us being us, right? And you're going to get this for the rest of the Unkindness Brothers show. I promise you that.
All right, so let me ask you a question.
Okay.
Brother to brother right now.
Okay.
You're my son's godfather, right? My 3-year-old son, you are his godfather.
Yeah.
So let's put ourselves in a situation. I come to you and I say, dude, little one's being tortured, right? He's being abused. And I told him, it's cool, man. Just accept it. What would you say at that point?
And you told me it was cool?
No, I told you. I told you as a father, I told my son to just accept the abuse.
I mean, it literally, I would throw up. I literally have my stomach's twisting thinking of that.
So you want to tell me this dude's brainwashed? No, this dude's a piece of garbage. Because as your best friend, if I came to you and said that's how I was treating my children, and that's the kind of parent I would be.
And you were using the excuse that he was possessed by demons?
And we're ghost hunters. This is what we do. If I came to you at any point and said my kids are possessed by demons, you'd probably be like, dude, are you drinking? Like, what's going on, bro? Like, what's going on?
I'd ask if you were doing a lot more than drinking, but yeah.
Right.
I see what you mean, and I see you're trying to get me, and everyone, obviously, clearly, I'm not a father. I do not have any children. I do have nieces and nephews, and I do have a beautiful godson. And so I see you're trying to put me in that perspective, and I get it. But that's what's great about this is we look at it from different, and I'm not disagreeing with anything you say. It's just you're a father, and that's why I want to have your opinion. That way I can feel it from my best friend. You know what I mean?
If you want straight truth, I would have marched in that house. I would have pulled my kids and sorry about so much cuss this episode, guys. This is clearly very personal to me, but I would burn that motherfucker down. That's point blank and period. There would be no ifs, ands, or buts. I would walk in, get my kids, burn that motherfucker down, and walk away with a smile. Period.
Yeah, well said.
Well, now that we've kind of gone over the complete pile of garbage the story is, I think it's time to call last call on this particular episode, brother. You ready for a little bit of last call?
All right, last call at the Unkindness Brothers. Sure.
Last call at the Unkindness Brothers. All right, so that brings up one big question I have for you, sir.
Okay, let's do it.
So as most people watching know, and for those who don't, Matthew and I, we're paranormal investigators. It's what we do. You brought up the idea of possession in the story.
We did a lot.
Do you think legitimately possession was at play?
You know what's funny is, well, if it's a yes or no, I don't think it's a yes or no answer.
It's a yes. It's very much so. Yes, do you think it is or no? And then why? Right? Like what part of the story persuades you to think that there would be legitimate demonic attachment in the story? Yes or no?
So I'm going to say no to definitely the kids. The kids were not, come on. Abso-fucking-lutely not. No. I think the only legitimate potential demonic or even negative entity was Jodi's house. And I don't think it was her house. I think it was her. And let me tell you a couple quotes from some of the family members who were at Jodi's house. There was an instance where they were over at Jodi's, and this is the house that the kids were abused in. Of course, this was like a year before. So like Kevin was there and some of the kids. And they heard this extremely loud crash in Jodi's basement, which was all just cement walls. There was no windows or anything. And then that safe, obviously. All of it was cement walls. There was no paintings on the wall. There was no furniture, none of that. It was just cement walls in her whole basement, which I think's fucking weird anyways. But a loud crash, and they all went down there. Well, the adults went down there, and they said there was nothing. And then they went back up, and apparently there was a handprint on the window, on the back window, but it was like kind of high up, and it was like the fingers were like super long. It was like a very long, kind of distorted handprint. And then
so
there was
like streaks?
Yeah. Oh, it was a hand. Yeah. It wasn't even streaks. It was like fingers. They were just elongated. And you know what I mean? And Kevin had a photo of it, and it's just like, I don't know, brother. Like, and here's my answer, and this is my answer to a lot of things. I would have to investigate. I would have to go feel it. But the person Jodi was, and the way she was, and the lies and the deception that she gave, every single fucking word she said. And then eventually, obviously, I don't think there's time in the afterlife. This is a whole nother podcast. But something knew that she was going to do even worse things. And who knows? Maybe her kids don't talk to her because she tortured them. I don't know. But I do believe that there's some sort of disgusting, potentially demonic energy around Jodi. Now, do I believe she was having these episodes in the house? You guys saw the footage. I don't really think so. I don't think any of that. I think the paranormal activity that the family experienced at Jodi's, I think that could have been legit. Other than that, I think it's all bullshit. And now I want to ask you, we have dealt with cases with people that are kind of crazy. And you and I, what do we first do when we get a call? We don't say, okay, what activity have you seen? What do? We
vet. You have to vet the people. You have to vet who you're dealing with. Okay. History of mental illness, history of, you have to look at their background and see if they have any like law enforcement complaints. You have to look at, again, abuse. You have to look at condition of home. You have to look at all these different pieces before you go into a home to make sure you know, one, safely what you're dealing with. But on top of that, like any other public service, we're mandatory reporters. If we go in and we see whips and chains and blood marks in a kid's bedroom, we're not going to sit there silently about that. We're going to sound the alarm to anybody that'll fucking listen. So to me, I believe that, evil begets evil, right? So is there a possibility that because she was such an evil, and the whole lot of them were evil, and I'm referring to the adults in this particular story, that they could have in some way, brought something in? Yeah, sure. That's a huge potential. Do I think that there was something there that influenced them? No. I think that they were evil to their core.
Yeah, I agree. I think they with what they were doing, especially Jodi, conjured whatever entity was around her. And it heightened when Ruby and Kevin came in, especially Ruby, obviously, them being intimate with each other. And we all know, like, intimacy, making love, like that exerts so much energy that it can manifest things. And that is possibly what happened. Yeah, that's my answer, brother. That's a great question. That's a good last call. I figured we'd talk about it later because of our background and us being paranormal investigators. So I'm glad you asked that. And to be honest with you, I would go to Jodi's house and I would investigate, because it's probably, like I said, our life with Utah has kind of sort of related to that kind of energy. And then,
My thoughts remain the same. I'd show up and I'd burn it down.
Yep.
Burn it down.
Burn it down, baby. So, guys, this was a great episode. Now, great, not happy and joking, like Califf and I like to do, but it was a great episode because, again, it's just very emotional. And I really hope, we make a lot of people aware, and, we do relate to this because we are on searching YouTube. And
let's be real. I'm gonna need therapy this week, guys. I'm gonna need therapy this week.
Just don't go to Jodi Hildebrandt, apparently.
Right.
So
licensed professionals, folks. Licensed professionals.
Yes. Yeah. By the way, yeah, her license was revoked. That was also a fact that Sherry, the oldest daughter, said. One more thing before you guys go. Two more things, actually. One, if you do want to find out more information about the Ruby Franke story, I mentioned the Hulu docuseries. It's called Devil in the Family, The Fall of Ruby Franke. Sherry, her oldest daughter, wrote a book that came out in January of 2025. It's called The House of My Mother, A Daughter's Quest for Freedom. And lastly, Lifetime made a movie, October 2024. It's called Mormon Mom Gone Wrong, the Ruby Franke story. And ladies and gentlemen, I have not read the book, but I have watched the series. And unfortunately, I have watched the Lifetime movie starring Heather Locklear, who was great in it. But man, being in the film industry, it's tough to watch these Lifetime movies, man. I mean, I know bad writing when I see it. God damn. Actors did everything they could. I'll give them that, though. So, guys, of course, one more thing. Califf, do you want to go ahead and tell the audience?
Nope.
Okay, well, I'll go ahead and do it. One day I will we'll get Califf to do it. But please make sure you comment and you like and you subscribe to the Unkindness Brothers show. We would really appreciate it. We really want to keep doing this. We're just getting started. We have a lot more for you, and we're very excited about it.
Make sure that you guys, if you have any questions, concerns, or want to know anything more about us, follow us on our social medias. Both handles will be on here, as well as leaving comments under the videos that we can get back to at some point.
That was close enough. Nice. All right. We'll see you guys next time.